America, the land where everyone desires to live in, the melting pot that people of all ethnicities, cultures, and religions are willing to jump into, the wealthiest nation with the world's highest salaries and lower taxes, big houses with yards and open spaces, business friendly, the most powerful military, and the noble upholder of human rights. That cool blue passport that people dream of traveling the world with one day. But have you heard of these people? And why are they absent from the American image? There were tens of millions of them in North America, and maybe over 100 million in all of the Americas combined. They consisted of many diverse nations, like the Iroquois and the Mohawks of the northern US and Canada, the Cherokee and Seminoles of the southeast USA, the Apache of Texas, and the Cheyenne of the Midwest, as well as hundreds of other tribes who lived in all parts of North America with distinct cultures and languages. These nations developed a rich agricultural economy based on corn. They built cities, villages, and roads, and rich farms, and had their own unique political, diplomatic, and economic systems. And they even traded with the European settlers and taught them farming techniques as well as providing settlers with valuable goods, similar to how Palestinians taught Zionist settlers farming techniques. The question we all have in mind is, where are these people? And why are they only 1% of the US population today? How come in Latin America there are mestizos and a much larger indigenous populations, while North America became completely Anglo-Saxon? Our story starts in the 16th and 17th century England. A major change took place. The majority peasantry population once had access to communal land, which was available to work, farm, and produce their food. This common land was the source of living, but it would all disappear as this common land became privatized and commercialized to elite lords, and thus these peasants were thrown out of their lands and fell into poverty. Furthermore, due to the labor surplus, work opportunities were extremely limited for them. So as a result, these impoverished, subjugated, oppressed people fled their native lands in England and crossed the big blue Atlantic Ocean to the so-called New World and settled in the newly established English colonies in the 17th century. They would become indentured servants with the dream of gaining freedom and becoming landowners. These same poor, oppressed Europeans who lost their land would become oppressors who would go on to steal the lands of the natives, similar to how the oppressed European Jews would go to Palestine to steal the Palestinian lands. One of the most noble lineages in Anglo-American society is the Ulster Scots, or the Scots-Irish, who, according to scholar Roxanne Durban-Ortiz, are considered the descendants of the true patriots, due to them being the primary frontier soldiers of Western expansion. They came from the Scottish lowlands, and they terrorized the Irish during the English expansion into Ireland and settled on Irish land, killing and displacing the Irish people. They took with them the same attitude to North America, where, with a religious zeal to settle on more land, obtain wealth, and purify the land from the heathens. From the mid-17th to 19th century, these Anglo settlers were only limited to the eastern coast in what was called the 13 colonies. As they established these colonies, the natives were killed off through warfare, disease, and pushed westwards, paving the way for further Anglo settlement. However, The natives were not any safer in the West, as the thirst for more territory grew after the American Revolution. While the Revolution is the moment of immense pride for many Americans, it was nothing but sorrow for the indigenous, who many of them even considered siding with the British as the lesser of the two evils. We all seem shocked that a country like the US supports the actions of the Zionist entity in the Middle East. But when diving into history, we see such obvious, transparent similarities. In both cases, we have oppressed Europeans who migrated to another land only to become oppressors themselves. Both claimed the land was barren and empty, and there was nothing being done with the land. Both used religious rhetoric to dehumanize their native populations and to justify their subjugation and massacres. Both have erased and continue to erase the indigenous civilizations and dehumanize them. What the people of Palestine are going through today is exactly what the natives of the Americas would have experienced from the 17th to 19th centuries. In conclusion, we shouldn't be surprised when the US does what it does. After the conquest from the Atlantic to the Pacific, America believes it has the divine right to the whole world, and the Israeli state desires to follow America's footsteps and create a superstate in the Middle East from the Nile to the Euphrates and eliminate more indigenous people along the way. But the big question is, will Big Brother Uncle Sam allow it? Is it in their interest? Why would a superpower want to create another superpower in such a resource-rich region? Especially when there are much stronger players like China and Russia who are just watching the US drain their resources to fund the Zionist project. As a result, there's no such thing as a free America from Israel, because America is the boss that Israel looks up to as the superstate they one day dream to be in the Middle East. And as for us Muslims, this is another crusade, as many Western leaders have already admitted themselves by planting a Western outpost in the heart of the Islamic world to create division, to spike up civil wars and endless instability. History has repeated itself, and we are witnessing on live TV. And thankfully, there are masses of ordinary citizens in America and in the West in general who are now waking up to the reality, who are day by day educating themselves and sticking up for the oppressed. With the economic challenges in America, many are tasting the mist of what people in the so-called third world suffer through. Many are dreaming to see a different America that actually practices what it preaches for its own citizens and to those around the world as well. And for the Native Americans, unlike the Algerians, Indians, South Africans, the Kazakhs, who threw out their colonizers, the colonists ultimately won in the Americas and came to dominate. Nevertheless, it's important to learn about the Native Americans and who they are, their resistance and struggle for recognition, and connect their challenges with the challenges of the oppressed around the world. What do you guys think about the indigenous people of America? How do they connect with the people of Palestine? How do the two struggles and resistances relate? Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and see you guys next time.